Marie-Jean, welcome to this series of alumni career conversations. We're talking with one of KAUST's earliest PhD students, founding class alumnus, Professor Marie-Jean Thoraval, who graduated in 2013 with a PhD in mechanical engineering. We're talking to Marie-Jean today from his base in Xi'an, China, where he is a professor of fluid mechanics at Xi'an Jiaotong University in the International Center for Applied Mechanics in the School of Aerospace Engineering. So welcome to you, Marie-Jean.
Thank you for this opportunity to participate in the career conversations.
You're a professor and a faculty member in one of China's elite universities. You completed your PhD, as I said in the introduction, at KAUST in 2013. Your relationship with Asia, where we're talking to you today from, goes back to around 2007, when I believe you were a master's student in France, when you undertook a research internship at the National University of Singapore. In 2008, you were then an intern at Total in Scotland. You spent some time as a research fellow in Japan. You completed postdoctoral research in the Netherlands after your PhD at KAUST. You were an aeronautics analyst with the French Embassy in Beijing.
I like very much the opportunities that I had through my studies and work. One of the aspects that I feel very important is these international opportunities to work in different places with people of different cultures and learn a lot from these different work and different opportunities.
Can we talk a little bit about growing up in France?
I grew up in the southeast of France, in the Alps, and then I went to university in Paris, and I had some opportunities through my studies in Paris to have some international exchange in Singapore, in Scotland, but, in a few in China. So I had the opportunity to use these internships during the studies in Paris to go abroad.
So, as a child growing up in France and then going to university, did you think that you would come to Saudi Arabia and study a master's, that you would go on to work in China? Was your plan always to follow a global academic career?
So during studies before university, I didn't have a clear idea about research. I didn't have much exposure to research, so I mostly had an idea to go towards science and engineering. In high school, I started to learn Chinese. So I had this idea also to go to China and have some to spend some time in China. But during high school, I still didn't have a very clear idea.
And I mean, your school offered Chinese, so were you undertaking Chinese language with a number of other students? Was linguistics, were learning languages other than English and French very much part of the school that you went to?
So in France, it's compulsory to study 2 foreign languages. Usually the first foreign language would be English or German. And then there is a choice of more choices for second language. Having Chinese as a second foreign language was not so common at that time. So I was quite lucky to have this option in the school where I went. And we were only 5 or 6 students in the class. It was a small class to study Chinese.
Can you talk to us about your role?
So I arrived in Xi'an Jiaotong University in 2015. I took here a position of a professor of fluid mechanics. So I have a research group to study the dynamics of interfacial fluids, droplets, bubbles. It's a research direction that is in the continuation of the research I was doing in KAUST, in the group of Marie-Jean Thoraval. And in the group, we have about 15 people doing some experimental research work with high-speed cameras, and also some numerical simulations to understand the physics behind the observations we have in the lab.
So is your focus research purely, or are you working with students on the faculty side? It's a combination of the two?
So it's a full teaching and research position. There is a bit more emphasis on the research. So at the moment, I have only one class to graduate students in fluid mechanics. But from next year, we will have some more classes offered for bachelor students. So there will be a bit more teaching load.
Do you have a preference for either the teaching or the research, or do you enjoy both pieces of what it is you do?
I enjoy both pieces. I think it's important to have both at the same time. The teaching is really important to have a deeper knowledge of the topic, and also teach the student who could eventually continue in the research group. And the research is really going further in discovering new things and finding some interesting topics to research.
You're in a university environment. Are you interacting with your colleagues? Are you undertaking your research and your science all in Chinese?
Most of the work in the research group is done in English with students and postdocs. With some colleagues, there is some exchange that is in English, but most of the administrative work is still in Chinese.
So can you tell us a little bit about your life in China?
The life in China is very dynamic. It's making progress all the time. So there are many opportunities, many things changing very often. So for example, there was the first time I came to China, there was no high-speed train connection, and now you can go anywhere in China. When I arrived in Xi'an Jiaotong University, they were discussing about a project to build a new campus for the university, and after 5 years now, I am in the new campus of the university with all the students and the lab that are running in this new campus.
Do you remember arriving here in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, so I remember the arriving to Saudi Arabia. We arrived in Jeddah, and we couldn't stay in the apartments yet on campus because they were not ready. So we spent the first weeks in the hotel in Jeddah, and we were commuting to the campus. So all the labs were empty, and it was quite incredible to have all these people coming from all over the world to start this kind of crazy project to build this completely new campus in the desert.
Now, from my reading, you were the first or among the first PhD students in the center where you undertook your research here.
So I was the first student to join the lab of Professor Xi'an Jiaotong in KAUST. But actually, I started to be a KAUST student even before coming to KAUST. Xi'an Jiaotong was working in Japan already as a KAUST faculty before September. And I went to Japan for 3 months before the start of the semester to start a research with him. So it was one of the earliest PhD students before the opening of the university.
Did that come with a whole set of challenges, responsibilities, or was it great to be among the first PhD students to really help set the scene for others who have followed you?
So it had some challenges. For example, the lab was completely empty. So it took 1 year to buy the equipment and start to have the facilities that we needed. But everything was really planned in advance. So there was this nice discussion with Xi'an Jiaotong to first go to Japan for 3 months to accumulate some research experience in the lab, and then build on this experimental results to take them to KAUST so that it doesn't affect too much development of the PhD. And there was also some responsibilities, but but it's also a very nice experience to be part of the construction of a new lab and see all the development of the organization and the facilities.
Many of our Chinese alumni who formed the chapter were they surprised to meet a fellow student, French, who was a Chinese speaker and had a relationship with China?
So my first contact with KAUST was actually in China. I did a pre-departure event in Beijing. So I met the first KAUST students in China before coming to KAUST. So I think most of the students who took this offer to be some of the first students in KAUST in Saudi Arabia were all already very open to international exchange and very I think they were a bit surprised, but also they were already exposed to international exchange already.
Do you have one significant memory that is still with you today after 10 years of your time here?
Maybe one of the events that stands out would be the inauguration ceremony that was organized on campus with the king that came for the inauguration of the university. So it was really a very big event and showing the importance of this project for the country.
You know, have you thought where you might like to be professionally in 5 years, 10 years?
So at the moment, in the last 5 years I have arrived in China. The focus was on developing the research lab and developing both from the people, but the equipment and So now in the next 5-10 years, I think I would like to build on this laboratory that is developed now to attract more people around it and expand the expertise of the laboratory with to share with other professors in similar fields, and eventually with a bigger team being able to address bigger questions and have more collaborations with some industries to have this connection between fundamental aspect of the research and some applications that could be done to solve some bigger problems.
It would seem very much, Marie-Jean, that your career is well and truly on one track, which is academia. Is that the case?
So at the moment, I am on the track of a career in academia. I like very much his ability to decide on the research projects that I want to investigate in my lab, and this ability to go really deep into scientific question. But it's at the moment I think I would like to continue in academia.
For class of 2020 who are about to graduate with a PhD with the intention of going into academia, do you have some words of advice for them?
It's nice to go to some other place, and if you have some other ideas of what you want to do, either in some other research directions, or if you want to learn about other techniques, or it's nice to try just after the PhD. One opportunity that is very nice to develop to try and develop new skills is to go for a postdoc in some other groups. So it's very good opportunity to have this position just after the PhD, to stay open and to prepare to make sure want to continue in academia, or if you want to look for some other position in industry.
Well, Marie-Jean, that is the end of our conversation today. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on your success. And we wish you all the best continuing to make an impact in your career and through your research. So thank you once again.
Thank you very much.